Modules, and Blue Protocol Star Resonance. I got a comment the other day on my previous video, and they asked me, hey, could you make a video about modules? They're kind of confusing. So here's that video for y'all. We're going to dive into modules, which is the little gearing mechanic that you have that adds some extra special abilities on you. We're going to dive into it so that you fully understand it and understand how it's no longer going to make your head rumble. It's getting ready to rumble. Anyways, let's dive in. Hey, but first, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps out tremendously. Thank you very much. Alright, so many of y'all probably have noticed that you have modules. You get modules unlocked at a certain point in your adventure level, which y'all all are at now. At least the game's been out for a while, so you all have access to modules. But nonetheless, you'll find modules over here on the main menu. You can go to this right here. You see it's right here on this menu. I'll move my camera so you can see it a bit better. But you see it's right here, modules. You'll go into this. So you'll recognize this menu right here. And then this is where y'all might get a little bit confused. And rightfully so, because there's a lot going on here and it's probably easy to misunderstand these. So the first thing to note here is that there are three different types of modules, okay? There's an attack module, there's a support module, and there's a guard module. So how this pretty much breaks down, for one, is that the attack, the support, and the guard will have special ones that will only appear on those. Whereas they will still have the other stuff, but there's like certain key abilities that will only appear on those specific ones. So here, let me kind of show y'all, for instance, like so we kind of understand, because you're probably like, okay, well, I don't fully quite understand that. So let's say, for instance, these are attack ones, right? This one is an attack module, right? This one is a guard module. The circular one is a support module. So you'll see here how this one has these two healing abilities. They're green, right? These ones are green, healing enhance, healing boost. These will only appear on a support module. However, support module can still get some of these other ones, but that will only appear on a support module. So as you can see here, you can still get, these ones that are not green. But these two, healing enhance and healing boost, will only be found on a support module. And then for the support or for the guard, this one here is a guard one. Armor, resistance, like these ones will only be found on a guard module. And then if you go to attack, you see things such as these ones will only appear on the attack modules. So this is the easiest way to understand that. Now, these type of abilities right here, the yellow abilities, will appear on all of them. So these can appear on all of them. However, reds will only appear on attacks. Blues will only appear on guards. And greens will only appear on supports. So that makes sense. So that's like the reasoning of which one you want to get. The yellows can appear on all of them. The yellows are neutral. But the color codes for the red being attack, blue being guard, and green being support, those are direct to choosing which one you want to get in a support module, attack module, or guard module. So naturally, depending on what class you're playing, you want to kind of go that route in choosing which module you want to be picking. So naturally, I'm on one night. A lot of my stuff is going to want some of the attack type stuff, so I would choose the attack module, so that way I'm benefiting from those attack properties in there. Does that make sense to y'all? That makes perfect sense, right? Easy enough? Easy enough. So now that we have that groundwork kind of here, let's go over how these power core effects work, because this is where things get confusing at for probably most of you. Because you're seeing these things and you see like, okay, well, they have these abilities on there, whatnot. They have two abilities on them. But how they work, what does this mean? Let's dive into that and fully explain this to you so that way you understand it and it's easy for you to comprehend, because this can be a little tricky if you're kind of looking at it. You don't really know what the hell you're looking at, so this can be tricky. Now, first to note is that there are three different tiers of these. Okay, there's three different tiers. So you have, just like normal you have for anything, for food or whatever, there's a blue, a purple, and a gold, right? So the blue ones down here will only come with one ability on them. As you can see here, this only has one ability, right? It's a blue one. So now we have the purples. These have two abilities on them. Where are the golds going to give us, y'all? Where are the golds going to give us? Okay, the golds are obviously going to give us three abilities. As of the time of this video, the golds are not out yet. They'll be out in like 5 days or something like that. But they will have three abilities on them. Okay? Okay? Simple enough, right? Blue has one. Purple has two. Gold has 3. Simple enough, right? Simple enough. Okay, and just to show you real quick, so you can actually see a gold one, at least they don't have them out yet, we can go over here and actually show you one, because there is a module shop, which is Grace over here in the enhancement area. So we can show you this over here, and this will give you an actual visual of a gold one, even though they're not, we can't get them yet, but you can still see them, so that way these help you for you visual learners. But Grace is over here. You see where I'm at right here. This is Grace right here. Click on her, and she's your module girl, so you can go module exchange. And you'll see these gold ones right here. So you see these gold ones do exist, but they just haven't been unlocked yet. You can see over here, this unlocks in 5 days right here. So that will be unlocked soon enough, right? But just so you can see this, I want y'all to see that. Well, I guess while we're here, we can also say that you can dismantle as well. You can dismantle modules that you don't want. So you can purchase some of these with this stuff right here. So if I want to go into here and dismantle, then I could go in here and I could dismantle something. You see I can get some returns right here, which can be traded in to buy some other modules, try to get some better RNG or whatnot. Now, of course, blue ones only give Luno, but purple and up will of course give proper materials that you can use back to getting better stuff. So now with that being said, let's dive into exactly how this whole mechanic works. That way you are not completely bamboozled and baffled and just wondering, how am I going to get the Snapple? I'm not even trying to act like I'm taking part in a raffle, but it's just, we're going to the tabernacle. Anyways, so let's go back to the modules menu and let's kind of dive into this. Okay, so the easiest way to understand this is 20. 20, you see how this is 20. Now, everything here is going to have a link amount where things are activated. 20 is the max. So ideally speaking, you want to get to level 20 on whatever you're trying to work towards to get the maximum buff. Now, an easy way straight off the bat to kind of jump into this is that you can filter this for your class, recommend it over here, and it will give you all these recommended. You can also open this up. This is kind of show you right here. So if I were your Frost Mage, these are your recommended for Frost Mage. If I go to Beat Performer, these are recommended for Beat Performer. As you see here, you see these greens in here. Now note also that some of these are not available yet because they're only on golds. So golds will have extra ones as well. They will introduce extras for those particular assault and guard and support modules. So right now there's only a set amount for those, but you will have more that are introduced on the gold properties, on the gold modules, that will further make them more valuable and more spectacular to be using, right? Now, this is, like I said, this is the easy way to see this, is to go to your recommended, so we kind of see exactly what you're supposed to be looking for. Okay, but you can just recommend here, whatever class you're on at the time, it will pull this up for you. So you do that, and then what you want to see here is that you want to be looking at things such as what these buffs give you. So you see here, this gives strength plus 30, armor penetration when link is 20. So you see how I got this was that you see over here, this ability right here is 10 plus 10. This is the same one right here, plus 10. So that I was able to get plus 20 on that. Now this one also has this special attack over here, which is level 2, which we can't really get too much for. But we're really wanting to get that extra added bonus, because remember, you see here, and if you're only level 12, then you're only getting straight plus 20. Whereas you get 16, 20, you start getting those real boosts. And then you want to try to get as close to 20 as possible. So on this one over here, you see we were able to get Elite Strike up by seeing we have a 10 right here on Elite Strike. And then we have a 7 right here on Elite Strike. So we have this at 17, which puts us in the realm of getting this extra additional buff at Link plus 16. We couldn't get Link plus 20 because we didn't have 2 10s. Now, like I said, the gold modules will have 3 sets, and it will go up probably a bit higher on how you can pair these together, so making them much more extravagant or much more accessible in how you can really pair these. Now, the big thing there is just finding which ones you want to use for your playstyle, and aiming to get those as your plus 20s. So like so let's see here, we have these down here. Like here, these are your guards. You have resistance over here, which gives this right here if you have plus 20. Or you have armor down here, which gives this if you're plus 20. Look at some of the healing ones over here. So you have this healing bonus right here. If you're plus 20 of these, you get these. Magic attack, intellect plus 40. Special attack healing plus 12%. Get this healing enhanced one. You have this one, expertise, skill, healing, intellect plus 40. Magic attack plus 30. So these are all pretty substantial, y'all. And that's really how you want to aim at this. So like I said, the easiest way to understand it is just 20. 20, 20, 20. You want to get as close to 20 as you can. Now, going above 20 is not really, you're not really going to get anything from that. You're getting the buffs. You really want the buffs at 20. That's really what you want. Going over it does not really do anything for you. Does not do much for you. So you really want to try to level it to a spot where you're getting as close to 20 as possible, but multiple different ones. So you can go here and you can actually click data right here over on the right side of the screen. You can click data and it will show you what you have active. So let's go up here. So you see, this is what I have active right now. I have plus 20 on this. I have plus 17 on this, which that's this. And then these are kind of my lingering ones that I have from the extra effects. So does that make sense to y'all? Try to make this as easy as possible to understand. Also, by the way, while we're on here, if you see adaptive attack, you see this adaptive on the second option, Elite Strike, adaptive attack, adaptive strength, intellect, agility plus 30. For anyone who's confused about this when they say adaptive, what this is just saying is that depending on what class you're on, it will change. So for instance, like, this says, obviously I can't say that well yet. So this says adaptive attack and magic attack. All this is saying is that if I'm playing a class that prefers attack, if I'm playing a typical class that prefers attack, it's going to adapt to attack plus 25. Now, if I were to change to Ice Mage, the same thing would automatically change over to magic attack plus 25. And the same thing like adaptive strength, intellect, agility. So if I switch classes to something that likes intellect, something that likes agility, or whatnot, then it changes over to that classes or specs or whatever. So it just automatically does it. That's what the adaptive means. Whenever you see that, because I know some of y'all might be like, what does that even mean? What does adaptive attack, magic attack plus 25 mean? Like, what are they saying? That's what that means. Like, it'll just like default switch over. But nonetheless, as you can see here, you want to get as close to 20 as possible. Preferably you want to get 20 to get the full maximum boost there. And it even says right here, no, a maximum of 20 links, any access will not activate new level effects. So it even tells you there right there, yo, dude, just try to get 20. Anything above that ain't gonna give you anything extra. So you want 20, you want to try to pair as many as possible, get as many as possible to, as close to 20 to get the maximum buffs. Really, is when they start kicking in is at 16 or so. So you really start to see, the really heavyweight buffs really appearing on your stat sheet. So that's what you really want to do. Now, like I said, golds will come out and golds will have 3 slots. So golds will allow you to really kind of dive in a bit more heavily. They'll also have some extra ones in there for each respective support, guard, and attack types. So we'll have some extra ones in there as well. And then I imagine that golds will also have a higher link level. So I imagine they'll probably have, maybe 20, like 25 or something like that. Usually that's how these things do. They step up a bit. But for all intents and purposes, the properties of how you were going about this remain the same. So it doesn't matter if they come out with golds or platinums or diamonds or whatever. The key thing I'm trying to drill into you here is the foundational aspect of it. And that's the big thing, because the foundational aspect of it will apply moving forward. If you understand the base of it, you understand exactly what this is and how this works. It doesn't matter what they add on top of it, because you understand the foundation of it. That's the key thing that I'm trying to drill into y'all here. So I believe that about covers all this in regards to how you should be going about this. So like I said, it's real easy. Just really, you have to go through this, look at this. You want to go to filters down here and then go to recommend. It will recommend all the ones that are for your class. So we can confirm that. And now these filters are applied over here. X there. You see it has all these filters applied here. So I can kind of go through these and see, okay, well, do I want this one? Let's see. Okay, so this gives this. Do I want this for my class, for my spec? Do I want this? Okay, how about this? Okay, do I want this one? What stats do I have right now? Is that going to be good for me? You know, do my stats or maybe the battle imagine I'm using, does that cancel out? Or you know, so you just kind of just go through these and see which ones, you know, that they have on the recommended list for you, and you can kind of see if you really want to go about that. You want to use those or whatnot. And of course, you look at the level properties here, and you see, oh, that's a +10. So I wonder if I have another one of these, you know, so you can try and narrow it down. So let's say this is a cast focus, right? Cast focus. So you can narrow it down. If I go over here, I could, you know, do a specific or something like that. So entries, cast focus. Boom. Such as that. Confirm. Now I see cast focus. Okay, so I can go over there and be like, okay, I have that 10 right there. I have a 10 right here. And, you know, maybe if I really want to get a 20, you know, I have a 10 right here. So maybe I could potentially put these together, even though they are an attack and a support. But, you know, if I was really just trying to focus on that in particular, then sure, I could. But obviously, you would prefer to use something that is, you know, aligned with your actual class property, such as attack, support, defense. So where you do have the kind of more geared specific power core effects towards your class as extra abilities on that are appearing on that. So that's how that one would work. But ultimately, y'all, the big thing is just level 20 is when you get the big buffs. You want to try to get as close to that. So you want to match these, you know, like I say here, to show y'all mine. We have a 10 right here for strength, and we have another 10 right here for strength. So that's where we're getting the 20 at over here. That's where we're getting the 20 at over here. Now, if I were to go over here, and you see right here, you have this right here. If I were to go over here, I want to change this, right? So I want to change this. I should recommend it. I want to change this. Now I could go down here and it'll show you, oh, okay, you see this red arrow? So it's going to drop you down right here, but we're going to jump up to 20 on Elite Strike. And it shows you what you have here. So this number on the left is what it's going to be. Number on the right is where the next buff is at. So you see 12 is the link right here. That's where the buff is at. It's showing me that this would drop to 10. So this is where it would be at. So the numbers on the right is where the next buff is at. Right? That's where the next buff is at. The numbers on the left is where your stat will be at. So if I went to this one, see this drops to 10 again because we have this right here. This is number 1. And we'll be replacing this. And so then this would be right here. The buff would be at 20 for the link, but we'd be at 24, so that's kind of overkill. But we're dropping our strength to 10. So y'all see how that works. See how that works right there, right? So it's showing you what's going to be there if you were to add this over this top slot. Or, you know, if you want to go this one, it'll show you that. If you want to go this one, it'll show you that. So remember, the numbers on the left are what they're going to be. Numbers on the right is where the next upgrade boost that you're going to be sitting at is going to be at. Okay? That makes sense to y'all. Hopefully that makes sense to y'all. Try to make this as easy as possible. Nonetheless, y'all, the module NPC, Grace, is over here in this whole gearing area of the map. You can go over here, dismantle module exchange. So this gold ones will be available soon. You'll be able to get these. So keep that in mind and be ready for that as well. Now, modules do not come very easily, of course. So there's only a handful of ways to really get them. Naturally, you can go over here. You probably have some in your stores right now, how to obtain. You'll see that you can get some from the module exchange store, which we were just at, Steam Vaults, Monster Hunt Elite. Some of these will appear in the shop sometime as well. Some like your daily shops and weekly shops. So you can get those as well in there. But they're ultimately not like, you know, they don't ultimately appear a whole lot. They're not like a super common item. So be careful with that and dismantling things unless you really don't need them. I guess obviously, you know, level 1s you can dismantle probably pretty safely. But even that maybe not, because you might want that, but especially if you have like a 10, a +10 on level 1, and see the exact stat that you're looking for, that might be, you know, that might be worth it, right? That might be worth it if you really need that to get paired properly. So just keep in mind all those values there, all those different values, and it will just come natural to you. But if you have any questions, if this wasn't made clear enough, like I said, I'm trying to make this as clear as possible to really help out, really get y'all to understand it. If you have any questions concerning this, ask below in the questions, ask below in the comments rather, and I will try to respond to you. If I can answer it properly or whatnot, I will try to get back to you. Otherwise, y'all, be sure to like and subscribe. Hopefully this was of some help for y'all. Like I said, I got a comment that asked, hey, you make a video on modules. So they were confused by it. So I was like, yeah, sure. That's what I do to help out. So I'm glad I can help out. But nonetheless, be sure to like and subscribe. I will see you on the next one. Much love. Happy hunting and holla. Spike content.